Hello and welcome to FiveWhoFans. I am Billy, this is John, that is Dan. That is Dan. Is that nice cider?
It's the last time I ever get to do this.
Oh, I shall miss it. And that said,
Hey, Ron.
we're related. Nepotism. So Dan, what did you think of Resolution?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sit up like I usually do.
Was that your thought? Just okay?
No, okay, so this... Okay, so I didn't... The Battle of whatever it called, the previous episode, was fine, but it didn't bring my finale type feel. The thing that is like, yeah! And it's like so cool and it's all explosive and things, some threads come together. This filled that void so much so. I'm so happy by it, and I'm so happy that they treat the Daleks how they do. I'm so happy that we don't get them straight away, and I'm happy that Chibnall makes you wait. Makes you wait for even the name, and then to see them how we're like, when are they coming? And then they make you wait, and it's also just a totally very different Dalek story, and a different way just to use them. And I liked all the threads with obviously the dad as well, and it was just Daleks blowing stuff up, and it's just so action packed. It's so action packed, which we've had a little bit, but this was like the proper finale action packed. Everything blown up.
Oh god, he's just making incoherent noises.
So Dan didn't like it.
No. So I thought that was really good. I thought there was some superb character work going on there. There was some. I loved some of the early moments when you have just the squid knocking about. That scene where she's in the bathroom. At first, it's a good twist having her take off the jacket, and it felt finally kind of had a Dalek being a Dalek. It's actually a character. It's being diabolical and cunning. It's not just sort of in the background, kind of making up the numbers for a special. I do kind of miss seeing lots of Daleks together in like for a big story, because we've had quite a few stories now where it's just one Dalek just to show off how dangerous they can be. But that didn't ruin it. It's not something that I was craving whilst watching it. I was very much enjoying what I was being provided. It felt very expensive in some cases. There were a lot of scene changes. It very much felt like an adventure.
There was so much. It had such pace to it.
Although towards the end, I wasn't entirely, and this might be my fault because I wasn't entirely sure how long this was going to be. So like there were moments when I was like, okay, it's over, or is it over? And it kind of threw me off a little bit. The main quibble I have isn't anything to do with the episode itself.
I know what this is.
It's the fact that they revealed that it was going to be a Dalek on Christmas Day to the general public.
I mean, did you know, just wondering about the actual, did you know about there being a Dalek?
Firstly, I appreciate the pointing of the actual as if I'm just a real person. I hated it. They always do this sort of thing where they release bits of information way too early. I'm part of a society at uni, and they sort of have been raving about it. Like, yes, it's the Daleks. I didn't want to know.
And the thing is, like, lots of fans thought it was going to be the Daleks, and it was pretty obvious within the fan base that it was going to be. But we're not the audience.
No.
We don't make up the whole thing. And so this idea that, everyone knew it was going to be the Daleks anyway, they didn't. It wasn't something that was common knowledge, and they'd been doing such a good job of keeping it under wraps, and we got so close to not having the reveal into the episode. It would have been such an incredible moment if we'd found out for the first time within the episode itself. It would have been really effective, but unfortunately, for whatever reason...
Hopefully there'll still have been people who tune into that not knowing.
Yeah.
Because the squid wasn't obvious either.
The squid was a new squid design.
Yeah.
But it was just the cheapest thing to do.
Yeah, it was the way that it was put together.
And it feels like someone decided they should do that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like something that came out of Cardiff.
No.
because they didn't get new footage. They didn't even get a new bit of audio of this Dalek saying exterminate. They got a sound bite from Into the Dalek. It's an odd choice. It's obviously someone's decision. I wouldn't.
Hurriedly put together on Christmas morning. Chris Chibnall probably wasn't happy.
Chris Chibnall probably didn't know until he saw the advert on the telly.
It's something that we've been wanting for so long, and it's I would be less upset if we had the trailer revealing it on at the end of the Battle of Gransden.
I suppose the argument some people will have is that it was already leaked because there were people who went to the press screening and put it on Instagram. Only 200 people tops would have known from that leak. You'd have to go looking for it.
Like this guy does.
I knew, but I was just interested to see if and when it was going to happen, and it did. But that's the only leak. It's not like, Doctor Who fans, pretty insular little bubble. Honestly, they're not going to go, Mum, did you hear? This kid who went to the screening in London said there's Daleks in it.
What?
Yeah.
Go tell all my friends!
It just doesn't happen.
No one does that.
At least this all proves that Terry Nation estate nonsense to be null and void.
Yeah. We're just not allowed nice things. Just got to take what we can. John, what do you think of the episode?
Can I say, I'm really happy that finally this version of the Dalek was in the show.
I forgot about the design.
I loved it. I'm not making light of the fact that the Dalek came through and looked ridiculous, but was great. I mean, I want to swear because it was so good. But it did. At the end, I just looked over to where this sits by the TV and went, "Oh my god! Oh my god!"
So, character options. You don't need to release any Dalek figures.
Just re-release this in black.
Yeah.
You're grand. I loved it. There's so much to talk about. The thing I'm going to focus on mostly here is I never expected Chris Chibnall to write the Daleks so bloody well, and also the way he wrote, like you talk about the Dalek being on her back and that.
Yeah.
That's quite invasive and very despicable.
Yeah.
I felt that the way he wrote the Daleks was the Dalek. It was like violating that woman.
Yeah.
And that's horrible and makes it even more despicable, and it made it that more effective as a villain, as a monster that you want to see overthrown.
Yeah. It already felt dangerous even before the casing.
Yes, yeah, it felt really the only thing really that the backstop to that is, why do the Daleks even need their casing if they're like that? They're vile, destructive monsters like that. They could just be a hive mind that comes in and takes over your planet by plugging into the back of someone, and away you go.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like The Host, that Stephanie Meyer book.
I'm glad we've gotten to that before the channel ends.
But I really liked it. I liked the Dalek chase scene, the way he killed off two police officers. I also like, I don't know if this was on purpose for Chibnall, but obviously we've had our first female Doctor, and we've had her whole first series building up to this. This Dalek was rejuvenated by hosting on a woman as well, and it's like a little bit of duality to
I
that.
suppose, yeah. I definitely felt some mirroring happening when the Dalek's like building its own casing.
Yeah.
You could probably compare that to when
There's
Jodie Whittaker's making a Sonic.
Similar
couldn't you?
shots, totally. It's and I think that was ingenious, and yeah, I thought the Dalek was great, and you get the Dalek, it rocks up through the door, and it's comically Woklek.
Yeah. Yes.
It's comically the most badly built Dalek. It's the type of Dalek that a child would build.
It is right for eBay.
Yes.
It's definitely
Yeah.
got together.
British sci-fi robot.
Yeah, I couldn't take its like big baubles seriously.
Well, no, me neither, until it revealed that it had missiles in there.
Yeah, which is one of the things that we've wanted.
Yeah, I wanted to see just Daleks be as dangerous as
Yeah.
that for a long time, and I really enjoyed just it taking out an entire bunch of people. Also, Chibnall must be over the moon at the fact that there was this whole drones thing happening in Gatwick. For him to have had a line of dialogue talking about a Dalek as a drone.
It's official, the Daleks ruined Christmas.
For anyone flying into Gatwick, it was the Daleks.
And flying into Gatwick, you've had a lucky escape, obviously.
There's a lot to talk about as well. Ryan's dad and Ryan, their relationship growing, a bit more of Graham being great. The Doctor showing some more steel. Yaz was there. It was just a great episode.
Yeah! Really great. Seb, did you like it?
It would be a hell of a thing to turn around now and say you didn't after us.
No! Like you say, it was an absolutely wonderful episode, and I think each of you in turn at some point during the episode turned around to see me on the sofa like this. Because I was just rocking with excitement. And you really liked the rockets and the baubles, that's the only bit that I didn't like.
Ah.
Was that a bit too silly for you?
It was a bit too much, because also it only fired one rocket.
Yeah, it does
Use it
prepare
once.
6 and use it once, yeah.
If it did it and it blew up the entire battalion, then that would be, that's my jam. There were so many dualities where you thought, I recognise this Dalek move from Dalek in Series 1, and it was I loved the fact that the visuals of the Dalek had changed almost completely. The squid was new, the casing was old and battered and sort of shoddily put together, but you knew throughout the episode that this is the Dalek, and a bit more. But I don't think it's ever been that scary to think about facing a Dalek, and that for me was just the whole thing. Is just the Daleks are scary again.
Yeah, scary and parasitical.
Yeah, which sort of makes sense.
It's the dialogue coming out of that Dalek. What was going on? This great villain. We saved up an entire series to have the Dalek be the best villain.
Yeah,
Actually, I preferred Tim Shaw.
I liked him, sure, but he's nowhere near as good as a Dalek.
Is he now?
I said he's nowhere near.
Was he worth the wait? Tim Shaw? I mean the Dalek.
Yes. Yeah. Just going back to your point about the missiles, I think you do see the one you do see launch is the one that deflects the tanks.
Yes.
Now that's the shot, because I would be fine if you did a wide shot. You just see it go boom, fine, and it's cool that a Dalek. I love the fact that we finally see this as well. A Dalek faces another tank.
Yes.
And it obliterates it. Yes. It's just a shame that you have that slightly
cartoony.
Yeah. Shot of a missile bonking another one out of the way. Didn't need it.
I kind of prefer it if the tank actually hit the Dalek, it exploded, and then the Dalek just was still fine, just comes through it.
And then naturally the other effect shot that I noticed was used a lot. There's a couple of new TARDIS shots in this episode. But they reused one of it going up and down the time vortex a lot and just reversed it a couple of times. And
I hadn't noticed that.
I know.
I think the not necessarily in the vortex, but the shot when you first see it doing the fireworks thing, and the shot with it in the supernova looks great.
Oh, there's some beautiful TARDIS shots in this.
Yeah.
Can we just have a moment to appreciate that when the TARDIS first materialises in the was it a sewer?
Yeah.
They had ripples coming out from it.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing attention to detail.
Yeah. And also that last shot of the TARDIS taking off, it's almost like a homage to the Tom Baker title sequence and evolving, and that was really, really neat. It just had talking direction briefly. It's got a very, very good visual flair. Wayne Yip.
Yes, you've directed a couple of Series 10.
A couple of Series 10.
Bit of class.
And a bit of class.
But I'd say this is far
superior.
I don't think class was ever too poorly directed.
It wasn't, but
No.
just
It was just everything else with class.
Yes. Well, there was a lot. There was a great deal of tension building throughout. I love the joke, because I've thought this in the past. It's a very Doctor Who fan thing to think of, which is what is a rel? How much time is a rel? And the Doctor even coming to terms with that. Great.
I love that she doesn't Jodie's Doctor doesn't beat around the bush with sort of pretending to take some things like that seriously. She's brings it out. Like when we all were thinking the same thing, that Dalek looks a bit silly. She went at it. She did it, and I was just like, oh, it was on purpose. It's fine.
Oh yeah, totally.
But she wasn't like, because previous doctors are very sort of comical with them, and they're never really that scared of them. But especially at first, when she realises what it is, and the more she discovers about it, she just sort of gets she gets scared. And we haven't seen the Doctor scared of the Daleks for a very long time.
Yeah, no.
Whereas the Doctor's just been more confident, just drinking his cups of tea with them.
Yeah, the question is, where did I get my tea?
Yeah. And then just like, haha, you're a joke. That's the Doctor thing. But like, finally, since, David? David?
First time since the Russell era.
Yeah, the Doctor is purely, like, scared of them.
It's also the first time since Russell's era that the Daleks have been such a presence. It's just one of them. Cracking. I love it. It just takes out the body count in this episode. Is that why it wasn't on Christmas Day?
Yes, that wouldn't have suited Christmas Day.
Unit.
Yes.
I loved it. It's ballsy, first of all, to be like, Unit disbanded.
I want a T-shirt with Unit, other armed forces are available on it.
You just need to answer a few questions.
Because of course Unit would be victims of austerity.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah.
Unit got Brexited.
It's so... That's a step. That's like the type of thing Russell would have done as well, in just making the step to modernise the show.
Yeah.
It's just going, Unit probably wouldn't exist now. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And like that, and also, good. Gone, and the Doctor also coming face to face with the call centre lady. Also brilliant.
My favourite antagonist.
It's just so good for this Doctor to have a foe in a call centre lady.
Yeah.
Series 12. That's the Timeless Child. Can I help you?
I'm not sure exactly what to make of it, but we did spend quite a lot of time in the TARDIS, didn't we?
We did.
There was a lot, like, sort of Moffat-y,
But
Colin Baker levels almost. Not that I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing.
Well,
and obviously, if they're going from place to place, it's kind of necessary. But I just noticed that we spent a lot of time there.
we did spend a lot of time in the TARDIS, but we were going to varied locations. And if it's the only time it happens in 2019, that's fine.
Yeah, I spent lots of 2018 craving more of the TARDIS. So this is my treat. Also, isn't it weird that we had an entire scene dedicated to a gag about family having to talk to each other? When the Wi-Fi goes down.
Yes!
I think that was nice, but why couldn't that have been Yaz's family?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Oh yeah, Yaz
wasn't that Yaz's family?
Why wasn't that? Well, yeah.
That's our established family unit.
Yeah. It was
like,
it's
You
great.
could easily do that.
Well, part of the... You're right, and this isn't me saying that's not the right point, and it should have been, probably. However, I do appreciate seeing a different family because it reminds you that the world is more than just the Doctor.
Yeah.
And the surrounding environment, which was again a problem of the previous couple of years, where everything was just interconnected with a tight cast. So I liked that.
It felt a bit weird that it was just those people.
Yeah, it's
it wasn't
very
cutting to
weird.
lots of other people
Yeah,
also going.
If it was like just a shot of, well, that would have been a very Russell thing to do. Just cut to
newsreaders.
or Trafalgar Square, just everyone just wandering around, and then cutting, and then it pans up to those big screens there, and they've all just got the buffering symbol.
That would have been kind of great.
Although I did like that it just cut to the buffering signal on TV.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we'd watched it via streaming, just for that gag. There was the scene with Ryan and his dad in the cafe, and Ryan talks about what he wanted his dad to say,
Yeah.
and that felt a little too...
It was a very powerful scene, but I feel like it went on a little bit too long.
Well, that moment when Ryan was talking especially was the bit where I didn't switch off, but I was like, this feels very written. It stopped being natural dialogue. It started...
And it's all one. It's another one of those things where maybe would have been better if it was spliced up a bit. Not necessarily in the cafe, cut to a Dalek bit, back in the cafe, but like they have a part of their conversation there. They sort of resume their conversation somewhere
in the TARDIS.
in the TARDIS or something. It just felt a little bit too like it was 5 minutes probably, something like that, where it could have just been split.
What you want to do is incorporate them into the plot and have, you know, the way that they are handling situations. You can have subtext there in the way that they talk to each other, so you can have them saying things to do with what they need to do, but it's said in a way that kind of implies something else.
Yeah.
I really liked that speech. I agree to some degree that it was perhaps a bit too much dramatic flair, but I got chills from that, and I thought that the delivery of it was amazing. But speaking of being incorporated into the plot, they left Graham behind.
You left me behind. You've got to come back. I love that. That was lovely.
It's not okay though.
Oh no, because then it gave Graham an opportunity to talk with Ryan's dad, and they start.
And you also have there's an element of Graham being like, oh, don't leave me here with him.
Yeah.
So can you get back soon?
Yeah.
He's just like, just not necessarily that his dad's horrible. His dad isn't a horrible character.
Yeah,
he's just a little kind of uncomfortable to be around, obviously.
Because he's been absent so long, and
he's conscious of that.
Yeah, and although there was an interesting, like, naturally just dropped in background is the fact that he worked on oil rigs, and he's coming back and he's trying to shift this Del Boy style. He's trying to shift this oven microwave, which becomes useful to the plot as well, because that's how you do it. It's Chekhov's microwave.
Yeah.
I love that the Dalek had a James Bond theme.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a little unsure about that.
I would have liked something synthier.
Yeah.
But
it's better than a big bombastic orchestra.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did feel again that there was some points at the beginning where the music was a little loud when the narration was going over that start scene. I felt I was some. I don't know again if it might be speakers or something, but it did feel a bit like I was like, could we just turn the volume on the music a little bit down?
It also felt like the person doing the narrations, they were right next to the mic, so it was so bassy that it disappeared into the music.
No title sequence.
No.
Yeah. I was thinking, okay, we've got pre-titles back, but no titles at all.
That's the second time they've done that with an hour-long episode.
Yeah.
I suppose it's an hour long, and the amount of story that was there, if you've only got an hour, you can stand to lose that 40 seconds at the start.
Yeah, but I do miss it.
You do miss it. We miss it because we're fans. Do you think it'll be in the DVD?
Probably not, no, because that would require someone going back in again just to add a title sequence. Do we feel that this episode made up for the absence of a series?
Yes.
Given that we're only waiting an extra, if reports are to be believed, a month or so.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And it was a good episode. It was like, if it was middling or bad, and there will be people who say it was, but
I think it lived up to that trailer.
Yeah.
That trailer that was like great, but you had to sort of like be. No, wait a second. No, it could be bad. It could not be as good. They might just be using all the shots, but they didn't because they missed out so much. Like I thought the bit. Do you know what you were saying with it ending? You thought it was going to end with a buffer screen. I thought sometimes even earlier than that. Like I thought it would end in that sort of that place where the Doctor and the Dalek just confront each other for the first time. I thought, this would be the last bit, but no, it goes on. It blows stuff off, and it comes out and it blows some more stuff up. So
it's great.
Yeah,
I love. It's just it's the thing that, just to round it up for me here. I think the thing that the Daleks have needed is a story that re-solidifies their power and their terror. And so I'm really happy that we had a Dalek show up and it reroutes the internet. And yeah, we've seen that in Dalek. Yeah. But that was 14 years ago. We're coming up, like, we're 2 years off now to how long ago it was the last time the Daleks were on screen when Dalek came out. You're allowed to start reusing like plot points like that, and it's not a big deal anyway. And So you get all the geometral bank and everything moving across, all the Wi-Fi going out and all of that, and you just feel the power of even a rebuilt Dalek that rebuilt itself. Such a cool concept too.
All the bits that the Dalek does and is given, and the thing with it latching on the back is just so. It is fresh.
Yeah.
I know you say you're 14 years, but actually even 14 years on. We haven't had that before. We haven't had it ever.
No, actually,
we just had Daleks going. Whoa!
No, I was. You're all forgetting Daleks in Manhattan.
How could we forget Daleks in Manhattan?
But Daleks in Manhattan did the same thing, but this did it much better, so much cooler.
Yeah.
I just again. I wasn't expecting Chibnall to write the Daleks this well. This was a reset button that it needed, that we hoped for. But then he wrote them dastardly. Like I say, I wasn't expecting Chibnall to write them with that flair. He had there's a hidden good bad guy voice inside Chibnall that he ekes out for the Daleks. And it was cracking.
So yeah, more of that, please.
Yes, please.
What would you give that out of 10, John?
It's currently an 8.
Yeah. Same. Out of 10, Dan?
Oh, I'd probably go 9. I'd say that I love like a lot of the ones in previous series, and there was 3 of them in a row, but that was the best. I was smiling all the way through, and Doctor Who's I don't think ever looked so cinematic. I never felt like, my God, it's got a big budget here. It is actually competing with those things that they wanted to compete with, and I think this is. I mean, there was some great ones previously, but I think this one actually cemented that with like, blimey, they've got some budget and they've done it with a Dalek story, and the Daleks are so cool. And yeah, so 9, brilliant, loved it.
Seb?
Have to go with Dan here. It was definitely a 9 for me. I was curled up on the sofa constantly, and I felt so immersed. And I loved that there was no beating around the bush with the Dalek. The ending, it had to die. She wasn't going to show up at Skara and be like, look, there's no planet there, nothing there anymore.
Yes.
And it was like, I'm alone in the universe. No, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's dead.
I also like the way that they swept that kind of continuity under the rug. Like, is there a Dalek fleet out there? We just don't care.
Could be.
Yeah. It's not important at all, but if there is, you can sure as hell bet there'll be a redesign.
Yeah, I was going to say, please, when we do next see them, and I hope we do at some point.
No more of this.
Thank you, Chris, for giving us a good review to go out on. Yeah. This is, of course, our last Doctor Who review, and we had nice things to say about it. So
more of that. So you've learnt your lesson. More of this. Otherwise, we'll be forced to come back.
For those of you who are very upset that FiveWhoFans is still on, it's 2019 now, don't worry, we'll be gone very soon.
Very soon.
We just got a few more videos to get out there and then we're done. Classic Doctor Who competition is just finishing off now. We've got one last video that's very exciting.
Big finale video.
Maybe a couple of other surprises
along
the way.
Anything that might happen.
Surprise.
Yeah, currently there's a big video coming.
You've been editing it all
day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, but I edited the last of that today, and it's very sad.
Oh, show it to me now. Or should we just rewatch Doctor Who?
Yeah, can we just rewatch Doctor Who?
Oh yeah,
we should watch Doctor Who again.
Alright,
I'll just turn off the camera.
Yeah, let's watch it again. Turn them off. None of this nonsense.